also need to have insurance on the house. Your property taxes need to be paid and up to date. You also have to income qualify. So there were qualifications or the income guidelines that were posted. So those are the requirements for anybody that is applying to the grant. And like I said, it is a grant to the city, and it will ultimately be what we call a forgivable loan to the homeowners. And some of the requirements for that forgivable loan means as long as you live in the house, you own it, and you have insurance on it for the affordability period, and that's 1 to 3 years. We'll put a lien on that property for that time frame. At the end of that affordability period, that 1, 2, or 3 years, will release the lien, and you can sell, move, do whatever you needed to in that the meantime. If for some reason somebody needed to move, sell their home inside that 3-year period, it is a prorated amount that gets paid back. So we're proposing that we're going to assist 15 to 18 homeowners up to $15,000 for these improvements to the house. Some will use all of that, some may not use all of that, but we have that available. Obviously, the less money that we use on some houses means the more homeowners that we can assist. So we'll work through that process after the city is awarded the grant. Now, this is a competitive grant that the city will be applying for. Anybody in the state of Indiana, as far as cities, counties, and towns, can go after this funding. So it is not a given, but it is something that we'll apply for and hopefully provide enough documentation that the city is awarded this funding. Once we do hear about the award, which probably is not going to happen until end of December, 1st of January, we'll kind of see whenever they get it all scored out and how it falls around the holidays. If it is awarded, the next steps that we'll do are contact the owners who have submitted an application. Right now we have those applications due to City Hall and ultimately to my office by November 9th. The application is due to the state November 15th, so I want to make sure that we have enough time to get in those applications and get that information recorded so we can submit that to the state. The applications that we're currently taking is just to create a wait list. So the applications that come in does not ensure that everybody is going to get this grant. Like I said, we're going to be limited. A good number, 15 to 18 is a good number for us to try to get, but not everybody that applies is going to be assisted. We'll do our best. Once those applications come in, we'll contact everybody, let them know kind of where they are in the process. If it is somebody that's in that top group that will be able to assist, there will be a bunch of other paperwork that has to be submitted to document all those requirements that I had mentioned. We'll need proof of insurance, we'll need proof of ownership, we'll need proof of insurance, taxes, all that stuff. Once we have that, the next steps will be that we have an inspector come out and inspect the home. So they're going to look at a lot of these items that are available. On the application, there is a section that talks about what the need is. But when our inspector comes out, he's going to check these other items too, just to make sure, you may not have any issues with your AC or heat right now, but if they're 20-some years old, it might be a good idea, to have that replaced. So that's what our inspector will look at. A couple other things. This is a new to this program. So like I said, this is funded through HUD, and this program has been ongoing through another agency for several years. Whenever HUD federal money is going into it, they kind of dictate the rules and guidelines. And something new with this program this time is radon testing, and I have information up here on that. Every home that we do an inspection for or that we assist has to be tested for radon. So our inspector is also a radon inspector, so he will take care of that. Then we have to, if a home does have radon, that's something that we will build into the construction. We'll have to bid that out and get quotes for radon mitigation. As far as the radon testing itself, it's not invasive. They basically take a monitor and they put it in the lowest level of your house, keep it there for 2 days for it to detect the air, and then the inspector will come back, get that, send it off to the lab, and then they let us know the results of that. So again, if there is radon, then we will include that in the construction bid. Just to talk a little bit about that, you do not get to pick your contractor on this. And I guess I should say, you don't have to go through the trouble of trying to find contractors to get quotes. We're going to take care of that process for you. We're going to have a meeting and invite contractors to attend, similar to what we're doing right now, where we talk about the program and try to generate some interest from the contractors. So that way we already have a list ahead of time that we can contact and send quotes out to our request for quotes, have them submit quotes back to us, and we'll already have them vetted as far as getting references, getting insurance, and that sort of stuff. We still have to open up the quote process. Anybody can submit a quote to do this work. They're going to have to provide documentation as well, that they have insurance, that they're licensed, they have whatever ability to get whatever permits may be required for that sort of thing. So once the inspection is done, then I will work on some federal environmental stuff that we have to do with State Historic Preservation Office, and then we'll also send this out to the contractors to get those quotes. Those quotes will be due back to me. However, the contractors will contact the homeowners to come out and look at the work and get that quote. So once those quotes come back to my office, we'll review those. We do have to go with lowest, most responsible contractors. And like I said, we'll do our due diligence to make sure that we've checked references and that sort of thing on contractors. We'll also ask various, city staff and owners or whatever, if they know of any contractors that they think would be interested in this program. When you can have them give me a call, that would be great. More importantly, if there's any contractors that people know should not be working on this project, I can't keep them from bidding on a project, but at least I would have a heads up to know that we kind of need to really check references and have a reason not to use someone. Because I really don't want, contractors on here that we're going to have troubles with later on, obviously. The intent of the program is to, fix up these homes and make them livable, continuous for aging in place, people to stay in their homes. Once the quotes come in, then I will set up a meeting with the homeowners and we will have what we call a closing. Again, don't let that scare anybody. I say we do have to do paperwork. We are going to have to file a lien or mortgage on your property. That's just so that way we know in the event if somebody sells their house, we will be notified that somebody is trying to sell their house and we have to take care of this lien that is on there. The reason why that's just a security, again, like I said, the point of it is to assist the homeowner so that way they can stay in their house. We don't want to fix up somebody's roof for them to turn around and sell their property. That's not the point of the program. So that's the whole reason for the lien on the property. Once the loan closing is done, then we also at that time sign a contract with the contractor. So then we give the contractor a heads up. They will contact the homeowner, schedule the work. Once the work is done, the inspector comes back out. He checks that the work is done. The homeowner and the inspector will sign off that the work is done. And then I will work with the city clerk treasurer and the state on getting that contractor paid. So there's really not a whole lot that the homeowners have to do outside of getting in all your paperwork up front. If by chance that the project is not, the grant is not awarded to the city of Martinsville, because like I said, it is a pretty competitive process. We never know how many entities are going to apply for the funding, but like I said, it could be any city, state, county within Indiana. So they've only been funding for a quarter. They are planning on doing this every quarter. So if this did not get funded this round, then we would talk with the city and see if it's something that we wanted to go forward with another round next year. So hopefully we'll get it funded this first time and be good to go. If it is not funded this time around and the city does decide to go in the next round, then we would contact all of the homeowners who applied this time and let them know that if they are still interested, then we would keep them on that wait list. So that way we would already have their information for the next time. Some of the things that we cannot do with the funding, windows and doors. I know that's always a big need. Unfortunately, that's not something that we can do. We really are limited on any interior work, so we get a lot of requests for remodeling our bathrooms, handicap accessibility. Right now, that's really not something that the state is wanting us to do. If we really had an urgent need where we needed to do that, we could work with the state on that. The reason why we are limited to the items that I had mentioned and not doing interior work is, again, like I said, this is federal funds, which means federal funds dictate certain laws. One of the things that HUD did probably about 10, 13 years ago, they have now called the HUD-led rule, which means any home prior to 1978 is subject to have lead-based paint in their home, and they probably do. And if we deal with any home prior to 1978, then we have to come in and do what is called a lead-based paint risk assessment, which means we have to check every single painted surface in the entire house. And if it is deteriorated in bad condition, we have to test that. If it tests positive for lead, anything in the house, then we have to address those items first. So if this whole room was painted in lead-based paint and we found a chip on that wall and we had it tested, we would have to take care of fixing the walls in this entire room, even though there may be a hole in the roof that we have to fix first. That was the homeowners. So we're not trying to avoid the HUD rules and guidelines, but a lot of times for these programs, it's not beneficial to the homeowner when it's something that they really, really need. If their furnace isn't working, they really don't need us to take care of the paint on their windowsill. And that's what that HUD rule does. It's a great rule for the fact that it's intent to make older homes safer for children. That's where lead-based paint is a problem for children 7 and under. They're the ones that will become lead poisoned versus older adults. So that is why we're limited to the items that we are. I think I've covered anything. Does anybody have any questions about how the program works or timing or what we can or can't do, or no? Okay. I was hoping for a lot more people, but obviously, so if we're accepting applications through November 9th, that's just so that way I can have a number for our application. It doesn't mean that anybody can't continue to submit applications after the fact. Even when this is awarded, if we still had applications trickling in, that's fine. We'll put them into a database. They will be scored out. Since, like I said, we're limited to the number that we can assist. We probably will not be able to assist everybody that applies. There will be a scoring criteria that we put in that kind of evaluates the order of who we're going to assist. But if you know of anybody who might be interested and eligible for the project, please do encourage them to come to City Hall, to the mayor's office, pick up an application. You can also access it on their website. So there are ways to get the application. We do not need at this time any of that verification document that I mentioned, because if it's not funded, then I would have to ask for that again, in several months. So right now the application is just kind of for us to create that wait list. So, yes ma'am.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Let's say if your water heater furnace is in the same little cubby hole, that's what it is, cubby hole. You only have like a closet door that opens. And if they needed that wider to be able to get things in, who takes care of that?
Well, that would be a case by case basis. So that's something our inspector would determine whenever he comes out, to look at if they can make that wider. There is, with the head rule, there is a de minimis clause in there. So depending on how big of an area it is, it could be something that we could address under the de minimis law, as far as like removing that wall or something like that. So that's something that our inspector would look at. They will figure out if there is a need to change and move that around and give space or whatever. So, but yeah. Anybody else have any questions?
Karen, I think it's important to point out that the homeowner does not have any cost involved. All
Correct.
those inspections are part of the grant
Correct.
program.
Yes.
So it's important for them to realize that there's no out-of-pocket money to you, the homeowner.
Yeah.
It's all handled through the grant.
Yeah, absolutely. The grant pays for the construction, but it also pays for the professional services. So it pays for our services to get the contractors and handle all the closing and stuff. But yes, it also pays for the inspector to come out and write that inspector up. And like I said, because the radon something is new, that is something too. If we came up with an issue where we were able to do a home that had a painted surface or whatever, our inspector, again, he's also lead-based paint risk assessor. We would do testing on that. All of that is covered under the grant. The homeowners don't have to pay for anything on this. And one of the things that I make very clear to both the contractors and the homeowners whenever I meet with them, do not ask the contractor to do any additional work. Even if you're paying for it out of your own pocket, that is not allowed, don't do it. Reason being is we don't have a contract for that work. And if this contractor does something that you've asked them to do outside of this and they mess it up, we have no recourse for them to address these items. So yeah, even as far as, that's your own money, and that's, if you want to have a contract with them after the fact, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, for the most part, you don't have any money going into this at all. So, good point, Mac, thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay. Well, if you have questions, you can contact the city. My information, I don't think we have it on the application, but it's on the flyer that's hanging up downstairs, and Matt or Ben can put you in contact with me. So, okay, well, if there aren't any questions, and I do thank all of you for coming, and yeah, do please spread the word that this program is available. It's not, a joke. It's not a scam. It's nothing. It's real. The government's trying to give you money, so let's try to find some people who want it.
You do have applications up here. If somebody has not yet filled out their application, there are some here. We have them in the office, and she said it is available online for those who prefer to do it that way. And if you submit it online, it goes directly to Carrie. If you give it to me, then I scan it and send it to Carrie.
Yeah.
So it all ends up in their offices regardless.
Yeah. Great. All right. Thank you so much. Ben, I'm going to have you sign in.